Hello, my name is Jania Butler, and I'll be your host today with this intimate conversation between CEO and chairman of the Red Apple Group, Mr. John Catsimatidis, and founder and president of the Wall Street Project Economic Summit and Rainbow Push and Citizen Education Fund. So, gentlemen, we're going to talk about the American dream and achieving the American dream in America today. Mr. Catsimatidis, can you tell us about the concept of philotimo?
Philotimo is a Greek word that's not found in the dictionary very often, but it's the principle. Philo means friend, and timor means honor. So philotimo is the ability to be friends with people, help people, and not expect anything in return. And Archbishop Iakovos was marched in Selma, Alabama, with Martin Luther King. And they both made the front page of Life magazine at that time, which was a great honor. That the Archbishop wanted to help. He wanted to help the community, wanted to help people, and didn't want anything in return.
So let's talk about achieving the American dream in the 21st century. Let me ask you, Reverend, what is the American dream for the African American community, and is it achievable?
It's achievable under certain conditions. Equal opportunity is what's required to make the American dream. We have equal dreams, we must have equal opportunity. And you look at the big football games, and basketball, where blacks are so dominant in their playing. It's hard to be a professional basketball player. It's hard to be one of the best in the world at that game. It's hard to be one of the best football players. What allows us to come from rural Mississippi, or New York, or Chicago to be at the highest levels? Because in this case, whenever the playing field is even, and the rules are public, and the goals are clear, the referees are fair, and the score is transparent, we can make it. So even the rules is a key to equal opportunity, and often the rules are not. That's why when the rules are not passed, someone must help those who've been pushed into the margins.
Mr. Katz, you come from the Harlem community. Tell us a little bit about that and you becoming the epitome of the American dream.
Well, I lived on 135th Street by City College, by Lewiston Stadium. I went to a public school, PS 192 up there, and we had black kids, we had Hispanic kids, we had Irish kids. It was one blending community. And what did I do to learn a little bit? I had a 5-inch television set, and I used to watch Burke's Law, and this police lieutenant had a Rolls Royce. I said, wow, maybe if I work hard, I can get one too.
Going forward, how do we convince the community that the community is strong enough to attain the American dream and that the playing field is fair when we see a lot of things aren't fair?
Well, I just think we have to have more honest politicians that work harder for the community. Most of these politicians only care about getting reelected, raising money, and more money to get reelected. But they have to care for the community. And I believe that's the #1 item that they have to do.
You know, there's something called Citizens United, which requires so much money to run. It's almost a corrupting process. You can't run just because you're capable, because you're a fundraiser, and you end up being indebted to the fund, people whom you raise funds. So I think if there's less fundraising and more serving involved, we're all better off. I think we need laws that, for example, in New York, you can only vote one day of the year. In Georgia, you can vote 30 days. In Illinois, you can have automatic voter registration. Why in New York could you have automatic voter registration at age 17? Why could you have at least a month and not just a day in the process? That's what politicians can do to change the conditions under which we operate, as well as fight for a living wage for working people. People ought to work, but should get paid for the work that they do.
The tragedy in New York City, only 22% of the eligible voters voted last election. And it's wrong. You know, in Australia, they fine you if you do not vote. I think the voting pattern in Australia is 97%. But I think we should get more people to vote and participate in America and the American dream.
Well, part of what's happening with us is that the process has become so corrupted. Gore won, but lost. Hillary won by 3 million votes, but lost. So that means that the nullification schemes to undermine the vote is a spirit breaker. We must function above the spirit breakers in order to be able to affirm our commitment, no matter what the odds may be. And it is busting odds. It's not just voting, but fighting to bust the odds.
And what's happening in America today, putting students in debt to go to college.
Awful.
It is awful. The students now owe $1.5 trillion. One of my assistants has been got a $30,000 loan 30 years ago, and he's been paying for 30 years, and he still owes $18,000.
It's unforgivable.
I mean, it's awful.
Student loan debt is greater than credit card debt. And it's an unforgivable loan. Bankruptcy will not get you. It's unforgivable. We must end that system immediately.
I agree 110%.
How can we take the concept of philotimo and the concept of grace in the African American community and bring those things together so we can create the world that we all want to see?
We need more people involved, more people caring. That's why I'm urging the organization and all organizations to get volunteers to go out and help these kids. More women volunteers, more men volunteers, and we have to help these kids.
Well, we must affirm each other. That's what, man, we must affirm. And the affirmation of each other takes us a long way down that road. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I would like to thank Reverend Jackson and Mr. John Catsimatidis for a wonderful conversation and a lesson of history, culture, and togetherness. And so together, we can achieve the American dream thanks to these two game changers who keep changing the game. Thanks a lot.